Let me now move on and introduce you all to our second interview. With a smile on his face and with the charisma to match, this individual is a natural when it comes to the stage and the camera. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Ranganathan on stage. And now, for our next group. She is revered and greatly loved by all students from the first to the last year. Before I welcome this phenomenal individual on stage, let's take a quick moment to watch a short montage clip.
A senior professor in pharmacology who grew up during turbulent times, she obtained her MBBS from the Faculty of Medicine, University of Jaffna, and was the recipient of 10 prestigious medals and awards during her undergraduate training. After moving to Colombo, she obtained her MD in Pediatrics from the PGIM, receiving the Priani Soisa Gold Medal for the best performance in MD Pediatrics. Her passion for teaching led her to join our faculty as a lecturer, but her roles go above and beyond, and she currently serves as the exam coordinator of the Faculty of Medicine. She has authored numerous publications in the field of clinical pediatrics and serves in many national and international organizations. To hear her inspiring journey, please welcome on stage Professor Shalini Sri Ranganathan.
And next, we all know and love him for his unique way of teaching, but he is so much more than that. So let's take a quick moment to look at this short montage.
A professor in anatomy, he obtained his MBBS degree from the University of Peradeniya and graduated with second-class honors in 1987. Having moved to Colombo for his internship, he joined the Department of Anatomy as a demonstrator and now serves as the head of department. He has conducted research in the fields of colorectal anatomy and surgery. While engaging in clinical practice as a consultant surgeon, Professor Anthony also had a singing career, having sung numerous original songs. And now, to hear his story, let's welcome on stage the ever jovial Professor DJ Anthony.
And with that, let me hand over the controls to our interviewer, Niket. Over to you.
Thank you, Jahan. So I warmly welcome everyone to the fourth and final set of interviews, the Insights to Inspire 2.0. I think I speak for everyone when I say that it has been a wonderful journey with a lot of amazing stories to be heard. And for the final interview, we have yet another set of exemplary individuals. Firstly, I'd like to thank both Sir and Madam for taking time off your busy schedules to be with us here today. So, without further ado, let's get right to the interview. So firstly, one thing that connects the both of you, Sir and Madam, is that you both hail from different parts of the island. So, Sir, you grew up in Kandy, and Madam, you grew up in Jaffna. So, let's start off with the roots. Why don't we go back to how your childhood was and your journey to Colombo? Madam?
Thank you very much. Many of you would have actually heard my story that I was born and bred and educated up to MBBS from Jaffna. So I was from a village called Manipai, which is about 10 miles from the Jaffna town. But my parents had a vision like your parents, so they managed to send me to a very good school, Burmadi Girls High School, which is about 10 kilometers from my village. But my parents moved to Jaffna town so that they would be able to get admission to be in that school. My life was very peaceful and I was like a princess at the time until the country started to go into difficult times. So from 1983 onwards, when I was doing my A-levels, my life changed. So from that onwards, probably until I came and settled in Colombo, we have gone through a lot of difficulties and hardships. So that is one reason that when students come to me saying hardships for small things, I always discourage you and I encourage you to forget about the small things, because there are other people who have gone through more difficulties than that. So I studied in Jaffna faculty. It was the 7th batch. So now the 47th batch is going on in Jaffna faculty. So I studied there, and I never thought that I would come to Colombo when I was studying there. My dream was to work in the teaching hospital Jaffna, as well as to build a hospital in my village and to run that hospital as a free healthcare system. So those were the dreams, the immature, juvenile type of dreams that I had when I was doing MBBS. I had a good schooling, so that's one of the gifts that my parents gave. Then in the faculty, of course, also I had a nice time. And also I decided to work in Jaffna Hospital without coming to Colombo when I graduated. So I worked as a house officer in Teaching Hospital Jaffna under 2 leading clinicians. One is actually Professor Surya, and we can see the son of the Professor Surya in this faculty, who is also like the father. And we were disciplined as a house officer during that period. Then 1995, the situation in the country has become very worse. We didn't have any communication with the rest of the country. Even a letter comes in an ICRC ship, which takes about more than 30 days to come to Jaffna. So the PGIM communications were not good. So therefore, with the maximum events happening, so we decided to come to Colombo. So at that period, I was already has joined as a lecturer in Jaffna faculty. So probably you will be surprised to know that I used about 6 modes of transport to come to Colombo from Jaffna, including walking about 10 miles, bicycles, cart, tractor, and ultimately to the Vavuniya railway station. And from there we were kept in a camp because we were suspicious characters under 30 years of age at the time. And then I was found to be a very safe person, will not harm anyone in this country, and gave a certificate saying so. I still have the certificate. Then I came to Colombo with my parents, but at that time I didn't have the job, right, because the job was in Jaffna faculty. Maybe my fortunate thing, or maybe your unfortunate thing, that I saw advertisement for pharmacology lecturer. About 2 months I came to Colombo. So when I saw the advertisement, I was very happy because I worked in the pharmacology in Jaffna faculty as well. So I applied for the job, and imagine that I didn't have a sort of way to type my CV. So it was a handwritten CV in a torn foolscap paper. I think my department file still has that, right, where I have written my CV in handwriting in a torn paper because I was a refugee residing in Vallavate in one of the relatives' house. But fortunately, I think that is what I am very grateful to this faculty, and I continue to work for you. The faculty recognized that talent. I hope so. So, Professor Surya, I thought I will name him. He was the head of the department at that time. So actually, to tell the truth, when I came here, I didn't know where Faculty of Medicine is located. I didn't know where University of Colombo is located. I didn't know where Kinsey Road is. I didn't know where the Stanley Vijayasundara was there. So in fact, the day before interview, I came in a bus with a friend of mine and checked the location, how I can come on time. So these are for the students who come to exam halls 5 minutes before exam, where you are expected to come 15 minutes. Here, of course, the day before I went there and checked where this university is, and I came for the interview. So basically, because I had a good career during my undergraduate period, I was fortunate enough to be selected for the lecturer post in 1996. And 26 years later, I am with you all, as you have seen in the slide. That's my short story.
Right. I think that's definitely a very insightful story, because even for us, when we come across the smallest of hardships, we are very easily encouraged to give it all up. But when we get to hear how Madam never gave up amidst a lot of hardships, some of which that we will never have to endure, I think we can all say then it will be a great encouragement. So, sir, how was your childhood, sir, and how did you come to the science?
It's amazing how you selected both of us who had not walked through bed of roses to this position. I would say in short, I am almost in the same boat. I was in the same boat like under the middle of hardships. I lost my father when I was 11 years old, and I had 5 little brothers, and mother was not employed at that time. So, anyway, I don't know whether I had any ambition to become a doctor or anything. I don't think so. But one thing I would say, I did my job, whatever I am assigned to the best of my ability. And what Dr. Prabodhana said, one thing, we never cut fingers, we never cut lectures, we never hurt our teachers, and I didn't even parents, I never hurt my parents, my mother basically. So that was my, it reminds me a small story when I was in grade year 2. Teacher wanted us to, there were some jobs on blackboard, and teacher wanted us to write whom you want to be in like about Spanish. Then, so, doctor, it was in Singapore, doctor, engineer, lawyer, and these things. Among that, coolie when it was there, laborer's job. I didn't know what it was, what the meaning of it. Fascinating job must be. I didn't show to anyone, and I just gave it to teacher. Teacher, what? You want to, you coolie? I didn't never forget that. Anyway, so ultimately ended up here. Well, that's what I did my job then and there, right? To the best of my ability. That's it. I mean, whatever I did. Childhood, I went to the local village school up to year 5. Then I got the scholarship and went to Dharmaraja, which really transformed me into a different individual and inspired a lot of things from there. And then he was a very jovial character, like these days. Well, bit lazy to study. Never wanted to do bio. I really wanted, when I was doing O levels, I was really fascinated with this astronomy. Astronomy. Then during advanced, I wanted to do mathematics and I wanted to do physics. Really, that is my fascinating subject. And couldn't do anyway because one of my elder brothers, he said, no, you become a doctor, that's much better than. Anyway, because of his, I don't know why I chose bioscience. Having chosen bioscience, I was very lazy to study. And so much so, didn't study for the fresh eye at all, like doing all sort of things. And close to the exam, about 3 months close to the exam, I realized, oh my God, can't do this, like this is a very competitive exam. And I need to put myself and study, but that was too late. Ended up with 1 B, 2 C's and 1 S. Couldn't get anywhere. I was the 5th in the class anyway, with no tuition, nothing. And all 4 went to medical faculty. So next time, I really studied very well. Next time I was ranked 1 in the district. However, I went to Peradeniya, it's close to my house. Then, having graduated from Peradeniya, for some reason my wife and myself we decided to come to Colombo. Because she was her hometown is closer to Colombo. So I said, okay, but we come to Colombo. Then we did the internship in Coffee Mate. So yeah, it's with some other consultant me. So after the internship, I wanted to do surgery. That is also my consultant was. He said, no, you will do, I wanted to do medicine, but my consultant said, no, you will do surgery. Better than, you will be a better surgeon than a physician, he said. So then, all right. So I had forgotten all my anatomy and I was not very good in anatomy those days. So, so that's one of my weakest subjects. I would say thanks to my teachers. So anyway, so he gave a letter to his cousin here, who was a senior lecturer in the Department of Anatomy, Professor Ranganathan. Go and give this to him, and he will welcome you. And you will be a temporary demonstrator in the Department of Anatomy, and then you study for your part 1 and get through part. Then I had never walked into this faculty, I didn't know anything about the faculty. So I came to the faculty quadrangle, I met this individual, I met someone there. He said, can you take me to Professor Rohan Jayasekara? And why? His brother, his cousin gave a letter to him. Can you take me to the Department of Anatomy? Come, I'll take you there. Then he took the letter. With him, I walked into the Department of Anatomy. And to see that individual is Professor Rohan Jayasekara. I had never seen him. So I came to this. My goodness, in comparison, this is heaven compared to what I'm not degrading my faculty or my this thing or this. But when I saw this, the teaching and the commitment that the staff and beauty of the professor, lady professor, I thought, no, I should stay here. So anyway, after 2 years, I joined as a permanent lecturer. I did surgery. I had to do something as a postgraduate. So I chose surgery as a postgraduate qualification. And here I am. So I had to do things rather than willingly do unwillingly. So, but I did to the best of my ability. Whatever I do, wholeheartedly, honestly, those qualities are there in you.
I feel like that is yet another insightful story, because when it comes to life, it's not always the rainbows and the colorful things. There's a lot of hardships that we all have to face, and when we get to see these stories behind great individuals, it will definitely serve to inspire us all. So if we continue from where Sir left off now, Sir is a busy consultant and also works in the Department of Anatomy. So, Madam, you are also a consultant of pediatrics and also works in the Department of Pharmacology. How did that come about?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Again, this happens what President Anthony was saying. So actually, I didn't know there is a postgraduate when I was the house researcher. I didn't know MD. So I went and asked my consultant, Dr. Anandaranja, sir, will you mean by MD? Then he said that that is after MBBS, you are supposed to study again. So he realized, because I thought with MBBS that we have done, there is no more studying, right? So compared to now, first year, 6 I asked what is the postgraduate I should do. But at that time when I was an intern, I didn't know there is a MD, right? So then Dr. Anandaranja, fortunately he is a physician, so he explained to us everything about MD. And we formed study groups in Jaffna Hospital at that time when we were house services. I was quite interested. I think everyone initially had a crush on medicine, right? All the MBBS or undergraduates, we all like medicine because it's medicine. Later on only we realized that there are subspecialties in medicine and we can become specialists in that. So I also had a passion is actually to be a physician, that is an adult physician. But when I was in Jaffna, so we studied together, few of us. But then in 1995, during this crisis, that we were not able to do the first available exam, which is the MD selection exam in medicine. So we had come to Colombo at that time and I didn't have a salary, so we were refugees. I called myself as IDP, that is internally displaced person. right, with 3 bags and the parents and myself without the salary with my certificates. We came to Colombo. So at that time, the next available exam was selection exam in pediatrics within about 2 months' time, whereas the ND selection exam was in July, 7 months' time. So I just thought that I should take the next available exam. So the closing date has finished, the selection exam. So someone told me there's a PGIM next to this building. Go and speak to the director. He will allow you to apply if you are a genuine case. So I went, Professor Banabaka was there. So I introduced myself and I said that I want to apply, like you all missed the registration and then asked me, can I register? We have forgot to miss or something like that. So I also went and sat in front of him. But my reason was not like your reason. My reason was a genuine reason. So I was a refugee and I didn't know that the application being disclosed. So he was very kind, but he called Professor Lamapati Surya. I didn't know who Lamapati Surya at that time. Then he told over the phone, if she is not expecting any privileges just because she is a refugee, she can apply. Right? So I also said, yes, I will be equal with other people. And I applied after closing date. Right? So within a month, I had to study pediatrics. I didn't have books, right? Because he came with 3 bags. So what I did was my 2 friends who had come to Colombo already were house SHOs in Lady Review Hospital, living in the quarters. So daytime they study for part 1. Night I borrow their books, go to the balcony of the quarters because I don't want the lights to be on and disturb their sleep. So I sit in the balcony of the LRH quarters and I read the books of them. Right, so because I didn't have money at that time to buy books, even though we had money, I didn't want to use the money for the book because suppose I don't pass, then I may have to go to medicine again, so therefore I was not sure. So therefore actually the way that I studied for the selection exam in LRH quarters balcony, right, and borrowed books of 2 of my friends. Merit-wise they were very, very lower than my merit, but they were very good, both of them are in UK now. So I studied and fortunately at that time I passed the selection exam. So when I came to the interview for the pharmacology, I remember a very senior professor asking a question in the interview, how come pharmacology and pediatrics can join? All the people who are working in pharmacology are adult physicians and I think you should change. So that was for sort of, I don't know, I might have wouldn't have joined the department if they had to change because I already done the part 2, the selection exam at 2 at that time. So we had to do a local paper and after that we had to do the similar paper as MRCP part 1. So I already completed that and I was very frustrated, but fortunately again I am naming Professor Surya. He interrupted and said that if adults need medicine, children also need medicine. So there is a big scope for pediatric clinical pharmacology in about 20 years time. So therefore, I encourage one of my lecturers to do a pediatric postgraduate degree as opposed to all others in the department who have done adult medicine. So I was quite happy, so I then took up pediatrics and now I am recognized at the WHO everywhere because I have pediatric clinical pharmacology because there is enough people with adult clinical pharmacology. So it is a vision of Professor Surya, who identified that pediatric clinical pharmacology would be a big discipline in 20 years' time, has actually made me to take up pediatrics at that time. That's my clinical postgraduate degree.
Right. So I feel like even for us as undergraduates when we're still not sure on what to do, knowing how these thought processes work and how not just your vision but the vision of people who have already been through it will go a long way into helping you decide. So sir, right now you are a very busy clinician and you have a lot of experience. How did you go about, how did this whole career start, sir, after your postgraduate?
After postgraduate?
Sorry, after you finished your academic.
Yes. As I said, I had no choice. I had to do part 1. So I did part 1. Only thing is, I did a lot of other things with part 1. A lot of people said, no, you are not going to get through part 1 because I was doing a lot of other things. Basically, I was doing a general practice as well. I never wanted to do general practice because I wanted to do postgraduate and so academically qualified man. But living is also important. So you have to earn your living. So my senior registrar who left for his overseas training, he had a very good established practice in Colombo 50, which he handed over to me. Well, on rent. Then I took that. And while doing that busy practice, daily I used to see about 100 patients a day. And I did part one. I got through. Must have been the only one to get through part one while doing a general practice at that time. Then part two also, while doing part two also, I was carrying on with my practice. I wouldn't encourage the others to do the same. People are different, no? That may be my way. And my way of studying is quite different to the others as well. For my A levels, I slept from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. For my entire undergraduate career, I slept from about 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. I was up only when there is a party till 6 a.m., till 3, 4 a.m. And again 7 a.m. I get up and go to the library. Well, I had to go because of my girlfriend at that time. And I still remember we get that 3 months vacation at that time. Entire 3 months vacation, I don't know what to say how I spent that anyway. Till 3 o'clock in the morning we used to play cards. Not this 3 not 4 and no, we studied bridge. That's very advanced. We learned from a professor there, Professor Halape. So till 3 o'clock I used to play that and then take a nice wash. Had to go to the library. Then I was reading last anatomy. In fact, I was reading anatomy. In my mind, I was thinking whether to play ace or whether to play jack or whether to play king. The card, the hand comes from this side. That was my thoughts because so much involved in that. So I wouldn't recommend those things to you. Right? That is extreme. So anyway, as Professor Vajira and Dr. Prabodhara said, our undergraduate, so our postgraduate training is, I would say, is one of the best in the world. So when we go there, and it's just nothing. My consultant had done only about 3, 4 thyroidectomies in his whole life, during his career. Whereas I had done by that time about 250 to 300 thyroidectomies like that. That was some experience, right? And and there also, they really respected me and they gave me good training as well. And at the end of the training, he said, you nominate anyone from Sri Lanka without any questions, we would accept him. So when you also go there, you have to be good ambassadors to Sri Lanka. Wherever you are, just do that. And so part 2 just went like that. And my professor, I am very grateful to Professor Shalini. He is one of the most respected persons in Sri Lanka, professors in Sri Lanka. He was my professor when I was the senior. I was the senior registrar. And when he went to UK as a consultant, he took me as a registrar. As a senior house officer, I think. There also one day I had to go for a senior registrar interview. You know what they asked? You had worked with Professor Arvihara. Tell us about him. Tell us about his hobbies. And how come that he's very brilliant and tell us about his research. The whole interview was about him, not about me. But I got the job anyway. So that's because I was a good senior registrar to Professor Arvihara. Wherever you are, to do your job to your best of your ability. That is my motto.
Right, sir. So I think it's apparent from what we've heard so far that both sir and madam have very strong life principles. And while having these hectic roles, because both sir and madam, as everybody knows, Madam is the exam coordinator of our faculty, and Sir is the current head of Department of Anatomy. And while facing these hectic roles head on, the both of you also are very good at teaching. Because having been to Sir's lectures myself, I know that it's a lot of fun and they're very memorable. And I've heard from my seniors that Madam lectures are also really great. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So where does this passion for teaching come from? Madam?
Thank you very much. I may not be like person telling, so in my lecture probably adrenaline must be running. Not only to you, to me as well, right? So if you ask me, someone asked me during the exhibition what I'm scared of, I think the student is here, I said that I'm scared of coming for a lecture. Right? So what I'm trying to say is that equally I'm also scared. Suppose you give an answer which I don't know. So anyway, the passion about teaching I think comes from my family. Right? Both my mother and my mother's sister are teachers. And actually my mother's sister has taken up a school with about 50 kids. And when she retired as a principal with about 900 kids in that school. And it had only up to grade 5, and later when she was retiring it was up to A levels. In fact, they came to competition with my school, because my school was supposed to be a very large school with 2,500 students and a leading school. But in the time that I was leaving, one of the competition, actually my aunt's school came and won my school as well in a physical education competition. So that was my aunt, and actually she has done a lot of free classes at that time, and a lot of people actually are very grateful to her. Now she's no longer there. Then came to my mother. So my mother was also a teacher. She's also very good. She was an English teacher. Unfortunately, my brother died in an untimely age at the age of 24. So my mother stopped working at that time. But then she was a very good teacher, because I know that both of them have never given tuition classes. Both of them have never accepted money from anyone other than the system, right? Those were my role models in teaching. So I looked at them, right? I looked at them and I followed them. Then during school I didn't have much chance to teach, but when I came to the faculty, like I was a teacher in my batch, right? So it's like every exams or every some sort of in-course assessment, continuous assessment, that we have discussion groups along the corridor. So I used to lead my discussion group. There is a big popularity and demand to join my discussion group, because I prepare for all the questions and come. I divide the question and give to students, but then I prepare the answers for all the questions and go for the discussion. So if one person doesn't prepare, I always fill in. And also we didn't have mobiles, we didn't have WhatsApp, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have any form of communication. If you say the discussion is at 5 o'clock tomorrow, all will be there at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Because there's no way to contact them. You have to go to their home to contact them. That's also a bicycle. There is no other mode of transport in Jaffna at that time when I was studying. So I was actually a teacher within my batch. My notes are never with me all the time, not your cap notes, it's a handwritten notes. So the day of the lecture, my notes go to the batch, and the next of lecture, it comes back and later write and give again. So I take notes and give again. So my notes are photocopied and given to everyone. So I was actually very teaching for my students. Then later when I was doing intern in Jaffna Hospital, the dean of the faculty at that time, Jaffna faculty, he met me during internship, and he asked this question, which department do you want to join? Right, so he didn't even ask whether you are interested in joining the faculty or whether you are interested in teaching. The only question he asked is, which department do you want to join? So because he automatically assumed that I'm interested in teaching. So then I took pharmacology for various reasons, personal as well as professional. So I joined Faculty of Medicine, University of Jaffna at that time in the Department of Pharmacology. No one was there, I was the only staff at that time. Right, so I had to do all the lectures there, all the tutorials there, and being a student of that faculty, the dean was asking me to teach immunology, virology, pathology. So I was teaching those subjects as well because there was shortage of staff. But it was only for 1 year and 6 months. So probably from that time was that my passion is teaching. You all know that, right? I really love what I teach. And 26 years I'm not tired, right? And I want to maintain that in rest of that about 7 to 8 years and leave with that legacy that I'm a passionate teacher. And why I took up teaching is if I'm a consultant in the ward, I thought I will only treat 50s to patients per year. I have told per month, or I have told this to several batches. But through you, I thought that I can reach entire country. So that's my dream, right? That's my passion. That through all of you, that I will be reaching the entire patients of this country. So that's why I took up teaching. I may be very strict in my lectures, but then I'm doing that for the people of the country. You know that I look at you as a sort of an intermediate to reach the people of the country. So I'm really passionate. And I want to continue like that. If I can't do that, I may resign from the job also. That if I can't be the same teacher as I had been, then I might go out of the system. Right? So that's my passion. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with us, madam. And when it comes to Sir also, so usually with now the PowerPoint presentations and all, Sir still sticks to drawing, like having the typical whiteboard and all. And even I try to quickly draw the things that Sir tries to draw on the slides. So Sir, where does this inspiration stem from?
Old-fashioned teachers. Well, I still believe I don't need PowerPoint. Just chalk and talk. If you can draw anatomy, you know your anatomy. That's it. To draw, you have to be very thorough in your anatomy. And everything is here. Even if I have a PowerPoint, my slides are usually not crowded. Only one or two pictures, photographs. Everything is here. Yeah, that's it. So I want to make things very simple, because if I can't understand that properly, I can't convey to. It was very difficult for me to grasp anatomy. That's because we never had teachers to. They were brilliant anatomists. In fact, my professor in Peradeniya is the best anatomist I have ever seen. In her batch also, for Shanti Vardhana's batch, she taught the batch. Unfortunately, she couldn't convey the message to the others. Zero. So we didn't understand a thing. And there were some couple of good teachers in microbiology and pathology and medicine for us. So I really wanted to do those subjects. Right? That's inspired from that, So I looked onto him, up to him, and I thought they are the role models. They were the role models for me. So I thought one day I also must become a good teacher, because in anatomy I haven't seen very many good teachers who can deliver things in a simpler manner. So, and it's a difficult subject to teach. Anatomy is a difficult subject to teach. So I took it as a challenge, and I enjoy that very much. And I still like drawing and explaining things and make it so simple, fun, and my intention is to create, to generate students who are deep learners, not just superficial learners, who can carry things forward. So that's my passion.
Right, thank you, sir. So when it comes to life as busy clinicians, I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of stress and time management involved there. So we all have certain hobbies and pastimes to help us cope with this. And I think sir needs no introduction that sir is a very good figure in the musical industry as well. So I'm pretty sure that everybody here is interested in knowing how the mind works when it comes to music. Could you share a bit about that, sir?
Yes, that also I never wanted to become a singer or a musician. Well, in my childhood I used to play mouth organ. Now of course I can play about 4 or 5 instruments. I did Western music for my O-levels, but I only had an ordinary pass for that. The church choir I used to sing. Apart from that, didn't want to become a sort of a professional or didn't want to study that further. This really came when university life also just sang with colleagues, that's it. And well, yes, after the internship, I went for some classes and then Western music, guitar classes. And one day again, I was the best student in the class at that time. And that was when, I guess, my teacher's birthday it was that day. And we sang and drank and till morning I was singing. And early morning came with a friend also, Dr. Padmaraj. You don't know. It's from Jakarta. So we both came home. And my wife was furious. What? The whole night, where were you? That was the end of the class. After that, no more classes. Anyway, this making melodies and things, I never knew that quality was there in my blood. That after becoming a surgeon, one of my patients who had a very stormy recovery after bowel resection in Madara, he was nearly dying. He came to Navaloka and I had to treat him anyway. He survived. Then he went home. He was a school principal at that time, now retired. So he came one day, for the consultation, follow-up. Then I just asked, did you come all the way from Madara to see me? No sir, I had to accept, I came for a award ceremony. I won the All Island Best Lyrics Writer Award. Right. So I said, what? You can write lyrics? Yes, can you show me some of the lyrics? Then he showed me. No one has put any melodies. No, sir. If you give these lyrics to people, they will spoil these days, rap and do various things. So I never gave. I said, I have never put melodies to lyrics, but why don't you send one or two? I would like to try. Have a go. Then, Ninnad and things, I was the staff organizer. So there was a keyboard in my room, this old anatomy. So then, while waiting for the others to come, one day I just took, there was a delay, so I took one of those lyrics and took the keyboard and the melody. I don't know how it came. Then when the others came, I said, let's see, I put a melody. They didn't believe me. They said, no, it can't be you. Then I knew, it must be good, no? That's the start. Anyway, so after that, I'll tell you later how I do those things. You get into that mood, various moods. I used to study this music, how these musicians have been very successful. They get into these different moods and they create the same mood in the listener as well. The guys like in the Western world, they use all these only. They use these 7 notes, Sarigama, Padarisa, that's it, C, D, F, G, A, B, C, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Si, Do, that's all. But they arrange these things in such a way that your mood changes. Like people like Mozart, in these symphonies, those who do music, they understand that with the same melody, they change the chord and then you get into a different mood. Like that, using chords, they change it's amazing how they did those things. And in Oriental music, they use raga for that. So I didn't know what raga was. I was trying to study. Well, late I started studying, but by the time I created music, I didn't know. But I knew those moods were there in me. So one day, this same lyrics writer gave me a lyrics that's about the sitar, the veena. He had equated with veena to a lady, and then you keep the veena on your shoulder and play and things and then, I'll show you, I'll tell you the lyrics later. So, you want to finish it? Then I can.
Sing.
Yes?
You can sing.
Yeah, then I can.
So when it comes to madam, what sort of aesthetic avenues would madam?
I think for me, there was no stress relieving mechanisms or extracurricular activities. I have been a curriculum person. I have been an academic person, so I never got involved much in sort of an aesthetic thing, though I enjoy it. Right? I enjoy a lot and I enjoy a lot of music and so, but only thing I don't consider them as a stress relieving mechanism because in my way of life, there's no stress. Right? So that's a message that I want to give you. This word is a fashion word. Right? Right? So there's no stress. So this is formulation. Right? I don't want to spend the entire time on my curriculum or marking papers or sending emails about exams. So for 1 hour or 2 hours, just I want to spend something not related to that, but that I don't consider as a stress relieving mechanism because in my personality, I don't have stress, right? So I have gone through several personal and professional difficulties, including losing my only brother 2 weeks before my second baby exam. And I did that exam and I got class with distinction in physiology and biochemistry, not in anatomy. So he died in a car accident. So even then I went and did the exam in 2 weeks' time. So it was not a stress relieving mechanism, but I enjoy reading and listening to music. So reading has molded me and it has given a lot of messages. So I will leave with you with one message that I have is like education, that you can look at me and understand what I'm telling will not perish by anything. If you have money, if you have gold, if you have fixed deposits, if you have family money, if you have anything, everything will perish like our properties perished in Jaffna during war. But my education was not burnt. It was not destroyed. It was not perished. It was the true possession. And because of that possession only today I am seated in the seat talking to you all. So please maintain your education. It will not perish by anything. So this is from one of a Tamil leading book that I have been reading and following. So that's my message. So from the serious note that you can now move to a happy musical note as well. Thank you very much, Nikesh.
Thank you, madam. I think that was a very powerful message indeed. And to wrap up the final interview of Insights to Inspire 2.0, I think Sir has a little treat for us. Sir, over to you.
Right. So this lyrics writer, he sent me this lyrics. It's in Sinhala. Hada pirimadala veenavi. I forget now.
You sing it.
Anyway, it's about to be now. Even if I sing it won't come. It will appear anyway on the screen later, right? So it's about the veena. I'll sing it later, it might come later, right? So I was thinking to myself, what sort of melody might suit this? Right? So you have to get into a various moods. Mood is we'll say raga, it's a combination of notes. If I sing the 7 notes in Arohan and Arohan, sa re ga ma pa da ni sa ni da pa ma da re sa. That's the plain major chord, like the major scale. Now if I slightly alter that, sa re ga ma pa da ni sa ni da pa ma da re sa. One note I have just, but it's a different style, yeah? Then out of those 7 also, if I take certain notes and arrange in a particular way, then you really get into that mood, like the second the scale is little too low. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa ni da pa ma re sa. Nirga, rega, re, nidha, nire, sa. That's a different mood now, right? Normally there are times for these moods, you have to sing those patterns in different time periods of the day. This is between 3 and 6 like that. We are very close to that, right? So again I'll sing that and you get into that mood and then you can see the song, you can feel the song, right? Rega, re, nidha, nire, sa. Sandhya-ase, irta-muvavin, alaya kauludurin, yamrana, upapinkarana, ubikumare, ඔබට ආදරේ කියනායුරින් පෙර දවසක මා පෙම් කරනා සඳ මටද ආදරේ කියා තිබේ. You can see the mood, right? The same, both songs, those are two different songs. Now we'll get into some other, but that won't suit my veena, right? So I gave it a प्रीति करन रूपा नतिरियते नुहगे नुदिराई नामी शृंगा avatidanamni sinhi. Now that's another mood. You can see the feel, but none of those things are going to suit my song anyway. So one day I got into another mood, that is, change my mood is difficult now. මන්මත නන්තන රංගන කලමන ඕ පළුවන පෙත කම්පිත කරවන මන්මත නන්තන රංගන කලමන ගමදනිසා 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 අද පිරිමදලන වීනාවී සික්බෙන තක්සර කම්පිත කරමින මන්මත් කරවන වීණාවේ That's my song. I think that suits that way. Don't you think so? Yes, so that's not the finished product. The finished product is going to appear. Thank you very much. අම්පිත කරමින මන්මන් කරන වීණාවේ
With that, we come to a wrap of the interviews for Insights to Inspire 2.0. And I hope that everyone had as great a time as I did. And thank you once again, sir, for being with us here today, and thank you for that lovely creation. Let's have another round of applause.